Hey guys, welcome to the swag feed. Long time no see. Now there are a few things I want to get out of the way before I get into the comparison of this video. First off, if you haven't seen my first video, this is basically me revisiting the comparison between the ukulele, between the two ukuleles. Basically, I just wasn't happy with the quality of the first one. I basically used my iPod to shoot it. I didn't have any lights to go with it, and I just hated the quality, and I almost took it down. The only reason why I didn't is because people were actually watching my video. I mean, I basically just threw it up, put it together on iMovie on my iPod, and when I saw people, I got like 60,000 views. I guess I kind of thought people wanted to see my video, and I guess I was right. So yeah, I didn't like the quality, so this is basically me redoing it because I got a lot of comments with a lot of criticism, constructive criticism, and I actually agree with most of what was said. So yeah, I'm redoing this video. I'm gonna be making more videos like this. More comments I get and views, you'll be able to expect more from that. So yeah, the second thing I want to talk about is when you saw the intro of this video, it was Fresh Plus Plus, and my channel's name is Swag Feed. So I'm going to be either rebranding this channel to Fresh Plus Plus, or I'm going to be making a new channel. I'm probably going to make a new channel because I also want to get into like tech reviews and tutorials and other things like that. But I know you guys really want to see the instruments and everything like that. I play the ukulele, guitar, violin, and piano. So like that can be a whole channel by itself. Just me playing anything like that, or yeah, basically anything instrument related. And my other channel will be dedicated to tech, so the people don't have to mix if they don't want to. If you want to, sure, but if you don't want to, you'll have that option. So without further ado, I'm going to get right into this comparison. Hope you enjoy it. Okay, so first off, I'm going to start with the large ukulele. I'm going to refer to this one as the tenor. Now, the tenor is a great ukulele for not only beginners, but professionals. For one, it looks great. It has a nice white trim along the body of the ukulele. The finger markers are very easy to see, and I actually like that they're a little bit smaller than normal. Not necessarily normal, but they're smaller than the other one that we're going to get to in a moment. The tuners are made of metal. They are fine tuners, which basically means that when you turn them, they're not going to move from that spot. The ukulele gets out of tune because the strings are basically expanding and contracting from the temperature, not the actual tuner slipping, which is really nice. I can go several days without tuning that, and it's really nice to be able to pick up the ukulele, play a quick song, put it down, without having to whip out the tuner every single time. Now, a more important topic about this ukulele is something called the action. Now, for those of you who don't know, action is the distance that the strings hover above the fretboard. Lower action is better, and higher action is generally not. You don't want higher action, because basically if the strings are high off the fretboard, you have to press a lot harder to actually get the strings to hit the fretboard and make a good sound. And it really just makes ukulele a lot more difficult to play than it needs to be. This action is actually very good on the ukulele, meaning that the strings are quite low to the fretboard. As you can see, this is the mid of the fretboard, which is where it's mainly the highest, and it's the highest point where you actually play something, and it's very respectable of how high they are. I have actually never had a complaint with the action of this. Now to address those 2 points on the $30 soprano ukulele. Now this ukulele, while not horrible looking, it just doesn't have the fidelity that my other one does. The wood looks really shiny, and I'm not completely sure if it's wood or not. I actually think it might be plastic painted as wood. So, I mean, that really shows, whereas my more expensive one is actually made out of several different types of wood. The looks are not extremely important, but that's just something that really caught my eye when I was looking at my two ukuleles when I was getting ready to compare them. Also, it may be a little difficult to see in this shot, but the tuners are basically friction tuners. What that means is that there's a little screw that goes through the tuner and the head of the ukulele, and that screw is tightened, so basically the tuners are held in place by friction. Now, when you tune the ukulele, the screw comes loose over time, and the pegs will slip quite a bit actually. It's really a fine balance between too much friction and not enough, because if there's too much friction, then you can't turn the pegs. But if there's not enough, then they slip right after you turn them. So, yeah, the tuners are not something to be proud about for this ukulele, unfortunately. I tuned it right before I started this review, and it may have slipped during my comparison. I'm not completely sure. Last time it did, though, and people picked that out, even though I had just tuned it. So that is something to keep in mind. Now, the fret markers on this ukulele are spaced out differently than my tenor ukulele. I'm not sure if there's really a standard. I think there's several different standards, because I have ukuleles that look like, I have ukuleles where the dots are like the one on my tenor, and some that are like the one on my soprano. The dots are larger on the soprano, which is really basically personal preference. I actually prefer the smaller ones, kind of because they're a lot clean cut. Because the ones on my soprano, if you really get close up to them, this is really minor, but I'm comparing these ukuleles, so I look at everything. The white actually spills out of the circle that's supposed to be a perfect circle, and it is not a big deal really, but when you're really comparing them and scrutinizing the ukuleles, you just feel like the quality wasn't quite where it could have been. Whereas the smaller dots, they're clean, they're cut, and everything builds up to give you a good quality looking ukulele. Now, my tenor ukulele was around $180 to $200 or so, and my soprano was about $30, $20, $30. Now, that's a pretty big price gap, and it really shows in the quality. However, I do want to say that you cannot strictly look at the price of a ukulele and judge the quality that's made and discount another ukulele because of that. There are some Breedlove ukuleles that are like around $2,000, and while I have never had a Breedlove ukulele, I've used Breedlove guitars, and I can assure you that they're not worth $20,000 in sound or quality. Yes, that's top of the line, but a $1,000 ukulele or even a $500 ukulele will probably sound as good, if not better in some cases. I just wanted to put that out there, that you can't look at price and directly correlate that to the quality of the ukulele. In my case, the price gap is just so large, it just so happens that the more expensive one is built better. I'm now going to go into the sound test of both of the ukuleles, and I just want to say before we go into that, I know people are going to say that you can't compare the sound of a soprano and a tenor. The tenor is obviously bigger, it's going to sound fuller, and it's going to be louder. And that is true, I understand that. However, this is really to show the difference in quality. Just know that if my soprano ukulele cost the same amount and was at the same quality as my tenor, the only difference you would really hear is a pitch difference, which is why they're the different models. You wouldn't hear the popping and the missed strings that you hear in the sound test. So, however, the tenor will sound a little better because it's a tenor. It wouldn't be nearly as drastic as you're about to hear. So I just want you to keep that in mind to kind of keep an unbiased opinion.